Welcome back, guys. If you are just joining us, this is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, as we mentioned earlier, media companies and PR agencies play such an important role when it comes to creating a narrative in any single industry. Now, today we are chatting to Coleman, who is the founder of Coleman PR and consulting firm, which was actually established in 2014. Now, the company is certified as a small minority business enterprise, and he's a member of the South Florida Black Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Miami Chamber of Commerce and the Palm Beach State College. Now, it's a pleasure to actually chat to him right now. Good evening, Mr. Coleman, and welcome to the show.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
No, it's such a pleasure chatting to you as well. You know, it's such an important thing. We talk about it all around the world, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in the US. You know, media definitely creates a narrative, and it allows many different industries to communicate with the outside world. But I just wanted to take it back as well. Can you share with us the journey that led to you to creating this whole PR company called Coleman PR and consulting firm in 2014? What really inspired you to start this journey?
Well, this is actually a rebrand, and I had a much smaller company, and I needed to rebrand and take things even more serious because we were getting into government contracting. So I started as a journalist, and once you get to know everybody in certain industries, you start having, ideas and thoughts, and you see strategies that win, and you see what's not working. So we had enough team members, we had enough business to say, you know what? We can do the consulting. It was actually a team member of mine to this day. She's like, you do more than PR. You're a consultant. You're a business manager. So we put all that together, and here we are.
That sense. I'm just talking about different continents as well. We're looking at Africa, for example, and more specifically South Africa, right, where we are based right now. You look at like starting up a business, starting up a small business in South Africa. It has its challenges. There's a lot of unemployment in South Africa, which means that there is a lot of small businesses that are being created every single day to obviously, find a solution to that issue. But I want to touch on some of the general challenges that perhaps you also faced, when you started up or when you rebranded your business in particular in 2014. What are some of the challenges that you've actually, had to experience, and how did you overcome them?
Well, been doing this for over 20 years. The first thing is trust. People have to trust you. That's who people give money to and who they hire. And you have to show yourself trustworthy. So sometimes you just have to start. You don't even worry about the money, which is the second issue. How do I build this house without the tools? In America and South Africa, Sabona, South Africa, Molo, and there's 10 other languages official. But you have to just start. And when you can't get a job, or if you can't keep a job because of the economy or because you have ideas, you just have to create that job. And that's what Coleman, what I call a CPR firm, because we're giving CPR to businesses, whether big or small, and governments. And we're also doing some business and have some staff members, some team members, as I call them, in South Africa.
That's brilliant. And I'm glad that, we're seeing more of this happening around the world where, companies are starting in specific, countries or cities and then expanding all over the world. And I think it's something that's becoming very common, especially after COVID-19. But I just want to touch on, what differentiates you guys from a lot of other PR agencies and consulting firms out there. I know you guys have that niche of using social media for your clients. Can you discuss how social media has actually transformed the field of public relations?
Well, social media has allowed us, again, for the last 20 years to be able to go to another country and already have relationships with people, in real relationships where we've already talked about business and what we want to do and what we're going to do while we're there, where we used to have a meeting for a meeting, our long letters. Social media now allows us to do audio or even, video, and we can go back and forth. So we can have our team members, they can see what we're doing, when we're doing it. They can even meet our kids. So it's really been a game changer, and AI is just helping that. And it's the reason why I'm on here. More Global Love, Miss Neo, connected me because of what we did when we took 46 people with a client of ours, the African Diaspora News Channel, and we brought 46 Americans mainly to South Africa, and we brought probably over 100 people to South Africa alone. But it's just been great what social media can show, how we document it and how we can do it again and again, God willing.
Now that's brilliant. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're all very grateful and we're all very welcoming to strategic partnerships with different countries and cities all around the world. I just want to touch on strategies though, and we are speaking about that right now. You know, it's very important to differentiate between different platforms. And since you guys speak about social media and you are experts in this space, what strategies do you use to ensure that, you know, brand consistency for your clients are actually pushed out across the different platforms? We know that obviously TikTok needs like smaller and shorter videos, you know, YouTube's longer, LinkedIn has a different audience, more intellectual. How do you differentiate between all of that?
There's always going to be something new. Right now, something new just came out, especially with AI. So what we really need to focus on is the client and the messaging that they want to put out. I have 1,000 ideas for a client, but if you're not passionate about those, or if it's not you, why should we create something? Because you are enough. And everybody nowadays is multifaceted. Call it ADHD or just call it that we have a lot of interest. So what we're going to do is we're going to test the markets and see which platform works best for you. Focus on the one that works best for you and that pays you. And if none of them pay you, we're going to create your own website. So we just get a different grassroots audience. So everyone should have their own website and or app coming up into the future.
Yeah, and I mean, apps are becoming a lot more affordable to actually create very quickly. I love that, and I think it's important to be that ambitious and also to create that standard. But I want to touch on your own personal profile. Now, I know that you are a board member on several prestigious boards and organizations. How do you balance your responsibilities and contribute effectively to each? I know it's a very difficult process.
Well, but almost 20 years ago, I decided to get married, and then I decided to have children. When you have family, you have to be organized. And in the field that I am, people are really paying us for strategy and organization. There's some people who have so much money coming in a month that some people can't even imagine what does it look like to have $100,000 come into my account. But the important thing is, how do you save and invest? And what are you doing with your money? So for us, the organization starts with the phone. It probably starts and ends with prayer, because we always, every day, I need to know what I'm going to be doing the next couple of days, but even in the next hour. So that phone and having the right team around you to make sure that you don't have to be an expert in everything, but you have people who are smarter than you, is the old saying that our grandparents would tell us, that can handle the things that you might not be best tasked for.
Yeah, I think it's so important. Whether we're talking about businesses or individuals, you know, if you don't have the backing of a public relations firm or something behind you, it sometimes can really be to the detriment of your own platform or your own brand. And we've seen that very recently, even in the US, where there was Major League Baseball, I believe, you know, one of the singers that was singing the national anthem came out. She was under the influence, and she went out publicly to say that, you know, and it kind of damaged her whole brand, you know, in terms of future deals or whatever it might be. Now, I wanted to find out, in your opinion, can you elaborate on the importance of strategic communication in today's business landscape? How do you help your clients, you know, build effective and efficient communication with the outside world or with third parties?
We're doing more than just handling our clients' business. We're even handling family life when need be. I spent about a decade while in uni and coming out of grad school in the mental health field. So I try to use those skills and what I've learned, because everybody, and I mean everybody in the world, is going through something or they're about to go into something. So if I have your business right, I need to make sure that your family, you have that time, because you can have all the money, but then you lose your family. What's the purpose? You're a miserable person. And we like our people to live happy, and we want them to retire rich, if not wealthy. So it's really getting all in their business, being very nosy, asking the questions that might get someone upset, but you need to know, because when all comes down, they're going to need a shoulder to lean on. And it's best if you kind of know what happened in the last year or 10 years, because our clients are long-term clients. We don't want just one bam, get out of here with the plan. We want to be a lifetime business partner in your business.
No, I think that's very, very important. And I love the holistic approach to managing your clients. I think it is definitely a game changer. Let's just talk about some of the other common mistakes, businesses make when it comes to branding. We can talk about in South Africa, we have an amazing brand called Nando's. It's a food brand, and they're always getting their branding on point, in terms of messaging or whatever it might be. But what are some of the common mistakes that other brands make, and how can they avoid them?
And shout out to Nando's, know them well. I just look and sound like this. But so some of the mistakes, big or small, it's how you hire. Are you hiring right? And also, when you do have to let people go, how are you setting that up? Some people hire too quickly, and then they end up having to fire people, too quickly because of budgets. So you have to have your budget. And we have to remember that every entrepreneur is not an investor. Every entrepreneur is not what we would call a knowledgeable business person. If you haven't had this business, or if you're not reading, we read a book a week at our company. If you work for us, you're reading a book a week, whether it's audio or a book like this that we publish on Amazon. You're going to read something. So if you're reading, you find out, like Miles Monroe taught us years ago via YouTube, that you'll know more than the average person, because most people aren't reading a book a week or even a book a month. So that's what makes us stand out. And so it's the hiring, the firing, who's around you. What do they say? Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. That's really important, because we sometimes have to cut people's friends out of deals because they are giving them advice and they've never run a business, but they're telling them how a business should be run.
Very, very common. It's very, very common also out here in South Africa. I mean, at the end of the day, they always say your network is your net worth, right? But talking about you with all this experience, I mean, you've had like 2 decades of experience in PR now. What would you say are some of the major challenges, or not challenges, but more the changes that you've observed in the industry? And, how have you adapted to these changes? If you think about it, I mean, currently AI is such a massive thing, but what would be the next thing coming into the space?
Well, there's levels of AI, and we can't wait for the next levels to come, because they're even going to make things more faster, and people shouldn't be scared because people say, oh, we're going to lose jobs. No, we're going to create even more jobs using AI. It's going to be something where either you get on it and you learn, or you will fizzle out and be broke. But guess what? You can learn, and AI can check your AI. AI can teach you things that would have took you a whole classroom or semester or quarter to learn, and you'll be able to learn it. Because most people, when they're in school, they're not mastering the things. They're just doing it for a test, at least here in the US. But it's not till you get out there and actually do business or become a CPA or a public relations professional. There's so much that the classroom can't teach you. Some of it is because you're dealing with people, and people change every day. I love AI. We actually consider ourselves to be able to manage other companies' AI, because some people don't want to learn it. Everybody on my team can do some form of coding, whether it's front end, back end. You don't have to be an expert, but you have to know things, because AI is a game changer, and we're so close. I'm calling it my brother. AI is my brother. You pick a system.
I love that. Let's just touch on some of the trends out there as well. We know that there's emerging trends in terms of public relations and social media. And I know that you've actually covered some of it as well. Let's talk about mentorship as well, right? Now, we're looking at mentorship in particular. What advice would you give to some of these young individuals from South Africa as well that are actually looking to start a career in public relations? I mean, at the end of the day, in most cases, it's very overpopulated when it comes to many industries in South Africa. How can these individuals stand out? What advice do you have for them?
I would say mentorship is crucial, and it's the reason why I'm here. Even though I sit at 43 years old and I have, this experience, that thank you for acknowledging it, because we're just doing it. We're just working. But mentorship, I'm being mentored right now because I'm a licensed sports agent, and I have a coach who is giving me his track athletes, many of them Olympians. And he's mentoring me because track and field is like no other sport, and I'm having to learn, and it's similar. But there's certain things that, I didn't know that. And these are the dates that we have to do this, because we're dealing, again, with Olympians, and these people have a name and they're trusting us to give them some strategy, help them out with their life, brandish their team. And so you need to get a mentor. And I love when people email me and say, hey, I need help, because if we mesh well, I'm going to put you on a project and say, what can you do? Or what business are you working on now? And how can we help you? And the last thing we're going to do is talk about money, because we're going to first show our value and then we can talk about money. Money's the easiest thing to share outside of love.
Yeah, I can feel the passion for PR without a doubt. We're getting a lot of comments and questions coming in from social media as well. And I mean, Hermanus actually wants to know something in terms of the PR space. He says he's actually very focused on becoming a PR manager, but he doesn't know what's the correct pathway for him. So, I wanted to actually find out from you, how can aspiring entrepreneurs actually develop the skills, not just necessarily the mentorship, but the skills needed to succeed, in the PR and consulting industry? Because if you think about it, a lot of people are not familiar with the pathway, right? So should they go and get an Ivy League, for example, go to Harvard, go to Yale, get a marketing degree from there, or is that something that you don't really need?
I was really trying not to burn the universities, but unless you see me teaching at one or someone I can verify, the teachers and professors, I call myself the professor of PR, but you don't have to go to an Ivy League. You don't have to go to school. If anything, if you're spending your money on school, I would say go do nursing, become a doctor. We need more of those. Everything else, you can find that out. You can't learn that craft anywhere else. You have to be in the hospital, right? If you're doing it legally. So there's books out there, especially consulting. Someone I've interviewed, Alan Weiss, I believe he's written over 60 books on it. The $1 Million Consultant is his big seller. And you just need to read more books and go to the conferences, because that's what, even if you have a graduate degree, like I do in communications, you still need to go out there and do it, as I was talking about earlier. So yeah, I wouldn't say you have to. If you're thinking about studying this, don't. It's a hard thing to say, I have a degree and I can actually help you. Your degree doesn't mean anything. You want something with guaranteed money, nursing, and becoming a doctor. Then you can come learn how to be a PR professional from someone like myself, and it's a lot cheaper.
I love that, and I think that's very honest and very realistic advice as well. But again, Kellen, thank you so much for joining us tonight on INX Prime. It's been an absolute honor.
Thank you. Anytime. I'll come on the couch with you anytime as well. So until next time, appreciate you.
No, we'd love to have you back again. Guys, that is Kellen Coleman, who does actually run Coleman PR and Consulting. I mean, he has over 2 decades of experience in the PR space and about 10 years in his own company. And it's great to see the work that he does, but more specifically, the mentorship and the skills that he can actually push on to other young aspiring entrepreneurs and business people that want to enter into this space. Now, on that note, we are going to take a quick ad break. We'll come right back.